All right, so awesome part is look at all the great folks out here playing. It's always wonderful to see. Some of the best folks stay out late and play. So get an opportunity at Pennsic. This is the place to come and get that good training. We are going to go into a tension class, and I unfortunately have to drag everybody out to the sun again. We are going to make this tension class a little shorter. And everyone's always welcome to come and ask about tension and those kinds of things. Make sure this is set up. Thank you. I'm advertising this as a tension class, but really, tension is a lot of different things. We hold tension in us all the time. We have to have some tension in us, right, to fundamentally do the things, be in that ready state they talked about earlier, to throw blows. But now what we're really talking about controlling how much tension that is inside of us, but even more important, inside your opponent. Because if you can control tension inside your opponent, you can immediately start breaking those people down. Now, lots of ways to build tension up in an opponent. Simplest way, okay? Let me pick some here. Watch this. I'm going to build tension up in this opponent. Look, I'm walking into range, and at this point there's tension between us because it's dangerous. That's the simplest way, but you notice that person could stay. He felt very in control because he could still stay away from me, and where I was moving, his tension wasn't spiking high, but he had to bring tension up, and so did I, because I was going into a range that was dangerous. So understand, tension happens all the time. So our job is to control our tension and to try to control our opponents. Now, I'll do that same thing to him. Are you ready? Ah! Man, that tension was off the hook, wasn't it? Where was my tension in that? I did two moves. Bang, bang. My tension was very low. So, I controlled a lot of tension in that scenario. If I can keep him in that tension for longer, he has a harder time breathing. You stop thinking about breathing after that, right? But the more tension I bring into a person's body, the more tension they hold in their chest and stomach, the less air they can actually hold. Right? Old Black Belt magazine in the 70s, they estimated about 20%. So slowly, I'm just burning you out of oxygen and energy in your body. And there are points where that gets very scary. I've seen Rungvalder, when we're practicing tension, make people puke. Okay? Because they're holding so much tension in their stomach that they can't get it down anymore. I've caused people to have spasms because you're holding tension in a place so long that your muscles spasm. So there's an amazing amount of things you can do just with that tension. Here's a bad habit we have, and I'm going to show you what we tend to do a little bit too much in the SCA. And I'm sorry, I'm bugging you. I'll promise I'll pull some others. There's a lot of times you'd be like, fight, 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 fight. I just gave away tension, didn't I? I'm resting. It's okay. What are they doing? Resting. That's not okay. Can you just hold tension while I rest? Right. So how do we get in that place where we rest and they're still in tension? So if he has a shield in his hand, I might be like, yeah, see, now I'm over here. His hand's way over here. I don't care so much anymore. I'm kind of behind his shield. Yeah, so you see what happens there? Right? So I'm actually relaxing in a very defensive position, two shields. Right? And I have to have my tension slightly higher, but your tension was much higher, right? Because you're like, I am not in the right position. So position causes a lot of that, but when we break, remember every time you break, you're giving them an opportunity to lower their tension. All week we've been teaching footwork. I'm going to have you guys do some of this in a minute. All week we've been teaching footwork, some drop step footwork, some rotational on the outside corners, our bad habit in the SCA is, again, we shoot over here, and then our foot is pointed this way. So when we shoot, bang, my foot is still pointed, but my hip's over here, my opponent's here. And then we run by. So his tension pops, and then he doesn't carry it. In boxing, what happens a little bit, and here we are, is I might be over here like, hey! Okay, how you feeling? Not great. So what are you going to do? Hey! How you feeling? All right, so go ahead and get in a place where you're going to relax. Come on, I said relax. Am I doing much? You're doing a lot though, right? Yep. It really sucks. You're like, can you just let me breathe for a second? It'd be nice if you let me breathe. So, in this exercise, what I want you to do, and we're going to do a really short one. It's going to be the first time I did this exercise on somebody. Come here. So what we're going to do, you're going to pick a partner. And all that, you're going to be, I'm going to be the initiating person. We'll change that back and forth between us. And your job is just kind of, my job is just to make a couple of moves, and I'm just going to be relaxed, and your job is to defend yourself. You're a lot of energy, don't you? You can feel it's like you feel in danger all the time, don't you? Yeah. All right. So all I did on that is I made 2 steps. Bang, bang. All right. If you want it later, we're gonna make 3. Okay. That's all we're doing. We're just making a couple steps and see how. And as the person being the person responding, let your opponent knows like, oh yeah, you push tension. If they don't, then we need to go fix and see what's happening. All right, pair up real quick and let's walk through that real quick. You willing to initiate or you want to initiate?
We can't pair up together, Joe.
There's a good gentleman. Is
Yeah.
Oh, no,
It's on initiating. Try to go low energy.
This is a great chance to introduce yourself to wonderful people. That's why we're at this. Good.
Also, I pulled that corner.
So try it again.
See how that feels? It feels really bad when they're stepping over your feet, doesn't it?
I was wanting to throw that shot.
And then try to reverse the roll.
So that's perfect because you can't
A lot harder.
The thing is, you're definitely making it fun. I'm thinking about doing more.
Yeah, no, I was
Okay.
I now see why some of my local fighters laugh. Makes them so green. Oh, got it. Oh.
You're wearing them right now, aren't you?
I don't think she bought me anything. She bought Courtney stuff. You can try it if you want.
Okay. All right. So, good. He's got him. Let's go over here and see how they're doing. Did you guys do tension?
Yeah, we did good enough that my knees weak. So.
Oh, yeah. We don't want to do more tension than that. How about how's this one over here?
Totally got me.
Ah. And was it really? Were you able to keep your tension lower?
Yeah. Okay, here is where the tension is going. And how to then go, okay, trying to push here. Let's
Yeah. And did you see opportunities start existing? All right. So as everybody can see in this exercise, when you do it, you start seeing opportunities, don't you? Right? So, all right, everybody come back in real quick. So that, again, the best part about this exercise is that inside of these movements, the more comfortable you get. Remember when, if you're at the last talk, they talked about always being in a ready state. If we're always in a ready state, even when we're moving, I'm ready to throw. I'm ready to throw. I don't need to keep tension. In fact, you should be so good at being in the ready state that you are always almost comfortable. Okay? That's the piece. Yes.
As a defender,
Yeah.
and I feel like I should train myself to be able to be in a defense without tension.
Right.
To be able to breathe, to be able to maintain.
How do you do that?
And focus on breath, focus
But if people are applying pressure, how's that happen?
it's a concentration.
Right?
It takes effort.
It does take effort. And so what's happening a little bit, and the reason why this works is because if I'm the first person making the move, you're actually a beat behind me. So you guys are spending an incredible amount of time trying to catch up. So there's some footwork. It's not so much on attention. I'll show you this in a minute. In fact, you know what? I'll just show you real quick now, and then I want you to try this drill using this footwork. So as I make a step, you do defensively what you think. Correct. See, now you're kind of reacting to me, right? This time, when I make a step, I want you to make this opposite step. You go the same way I am. Notice you're still in that ready state all the time. You can throw. You're not missing a beat, are you? You see how much harder that is? But if I have you turning, you're turning. All I'm doing is manipulating your body.
No, you're not.
But when you're following, then all of a sudden we're almost in the same state. So that's the way to stop that tension. Does that make sense? So let's try that again real quick. And I want people to follow the other person. There's a lot better drills to do this. This is a really quick one. But don't try to move too fast with this. So if I'm here, and I take that outside step, and see how you feel this time when you follow somebody. All right, let's do it.
Watch the width of your feet. Don't
Yeah.
get stuck wide.
All right. See how much easier that is when you're following them? Good. Good. All right. Let's switch it around now. See, that was really good. And I knew you could do that because you did it second time through. You started doing that automatically. That's when I tell if somebody actually has good footwork. All right. Do it the other way now. Yeah. See how you're always in a good defensive, offensive position? Now you don't need to carry tension, right? There's no surprise here. All right, good. All right. See, now he's making you turn a bit. Now follow him. Cut him off. That's it. That's it. Good. Cut him off. Step sideways. There you go. Good. See, now it doesn't matter so much, does it? And look at the position you were in every piece of that. You could actually throw in the same time you step it. Where the other way, when you're turning, you're actually not ready to throw, are you? Okay? So did everybody feel the difference when you started following your opponent a little bit? It brings that tension down. Doesn't mean it's all the way down to the floor. This is not on or off. This is managing tension. And you're managing it in yourself and in your opponent. So if I'm turning and behind somebody, I'm always behind them until I take initiative somehow. But if I'm following, I can bring my tension down, and I'm just always in front, always in a good position to throw, waiting for the opportunity. It's much easier instead of just constantly playing a game of catch-up. All right, so the next piece on tension is giving it away, and we talked a little bit about that, and I demonstrated it a couple of times. I demonstrated it a little bit, but we're going to demonstrate it a little bit more. Come on over here. So, in this tension exercise, here is and I just touched on this. I touched on the idea is here I am, I might take this giant outside step, and I'm through here, right? Now, do you feel any more tension? You don't really care, I pass it. Now watch what happens. I take this outside step, now what? I'm always in a position to do something that tension starts getting scary, right? Because you never feel comfortable. So, and then, even if he gets ready to do something, it makes me break. I'm here, look at this now, I roll back in. And I'm just making. You notice, I'm just jogging. But I'm used to jogging at this point. Just staying in front of you. A lot of work in there though, right? But if I'm used to jogging farther than you, what happens? Yeah, exactly. At some point you're like, okay, this is all I got. I have to slow down. At some point he's going to be like, okay, I can't breathe anymore. I'm going to go away. Well, how do you break this? How do you break? How do you stop? Right. Now what are you going to do? Yeah, then you suck them up, right? Because those really hard ones are easy to see. Now he's really burning energy, right? And I can suck those up. Sometimes I'll pull them into him, right? But at some point they're going to back up when they can't do nothing. And I just cut to these corners. Right? Because I have the initiative now. So you see how that makes sense? So that's how we're controlling our opponent. Alright? So in this exercise, we're gonna kind of did this in the last one, but we're gonna extend how long. Okay, I'm gonna count to, I'm gonna be nice to you guys. I'm gonna do the same thing I did the other day. I'm gonna count to 10. Job is one person has initiative. What I mean is one person's driving the move. Okay? And then I'm gonna count to 10. I'm gonna talk for a second, and then we're gonna do it again. The other person has initiative. Key in this exercise is try to, when you have initiative, control your energy, but don't let them feel comfortable. Okay? And of course, as the person that doesn't have initiative, my job is to try to stay in a ready state all the time. All right. Here you go. Go ahead, do this, and I'll tell you when to start. You be careful on this one. All right. Who do we got? Can you take him?
I thought we had.
Oh, here we go. All right. So, we're going to count to 10. Are you all ready? Everybody has the initiative. Everybody know who has initiative.
I'm good, sir.
All right. On your guards. Ready. Lay on. 1001. 1002. Don't let them off. 1003. 1004. 1005. 1006. 1007. 1008. 1009. 1010. Ding. All right. So, as the initiative, the person with initiative, how did you feel about control, not of it, only of your opponent, but of yourself? Anybody have a comment? How was yours? Who had initiative in that group? How did you feel?
I felt total control.
Perfect. And it allowed you to be more comfortable, right? How did you feel?
I was still breathing.
Okay, that's good. You worked on breathing, right? That's perfectly fine. You're probably trying to keep that same thing we just worked on, hopefully. You guys.
Yeah.
Lots of control there, right?
You? I did, but I made myself win to do it.
So then you know what you have to work on, right?
Banner came up here. I
Don't
couldn't
be as
read it.
fast.
Given anything
Sometimes
that
break it
just a
and then
message.
come back in on a different angle. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Who had control? Got winded?
The same way, yeah.
Okay? And again, that was probably because you felt like you had to put more on them. This isn't about putting more on them. This is about putting them into an angle or a position that makes them react.
I also think it was about maintaining it. There were a couple of times where he absolutely got the pressure, but then it wasn't maintained.
Right, and you gave it away.
Yep.
So, but if we don't practice these kinds of things, right, are we ever going to get really good at them?
We keep touching on breathing, but
Yeah.
there's something that I've learned. It's called concentrated control breath,
Mhm.
which is a different kind of breathing when we're fighting than we normally breathe.
Right.
Or the way the breathing runners do, athletes do. And that takes training itself.
Oh, 100%. Boxers, there's a lot of ways boxers do that with small, but I do this all the time. Here's my jab foot. So if I'm fighting somebody, this might be, here's some tension work, folks. Here's, watch how good this tension. Okay, don't let me hit it. Hey, what did I just do there?
Yeah.
I put pressure on you.
Yeah.
You breathe out.
I pushed all my air, all that bad air out of me. What do I have to do? I breathe back in good air. Okay? In boxing, even if they're throwing jabs, like, okay? Pushing air out. That's it. That's how we control air. But I'm telling you, in a fight, if I'm just standing here and breathing, do you care? Right, but if I'm standing here and I'm like,
Yeah, now I'm
yeah, now he's not breathing.
Yeah, I'm very still breathing.
What did I do? I didn't do nothing. I gave him a little jab foot. Okay? So watch. Go ahead. Give me a little jab foot. Yeah, now you're like, oh, this is nice. You know, and you pull tension into, literally, he gave me that jab foot, he pulled tension into my body. I was like, hey, now I have to relax that tension, but he started coming off this way. Now I don't have time to relax that tension. See how he's controlling my tension now? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's also getting the flow into the next one. So
That's the hardest part, is getting the flow into the next one. All right, we only did 10 seconds. Let's do another 10 seconds. The other person gets the shot. All right, on your guards. Okay, you're the tension person. Okay, you put it on me. Stay on. That's a 9. That's a 10. Ding. All right. Alrighty, everybody back in.
I like the noise.
How'd that go?
I'm still putting in too much of my energy.
But now you know, though, right?
Yeah.
Did you really think about that much before, right? But now you're going to go home, it's like, why am I putting so much energy in it? You're supposed to be burning them, not yourself. Exactly. How'd it feel over here?
So you as
Who has tension inside you? And again, so there we are, right? So sometimes you'll see that. You'll be chasing, right? It's like you're moving back too fast. So come here. I'm going to be the initiator. So when they when they get a pattern that can control your flow, so he does not carry right now. So sometimes breaking tempo. Oh, a little tension there, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Same thing. Watch. One more time. Here I am. Here I come. There's a lot of tension there, wasn't there? That's a way to control that. How'd you guys do? Did you control your tension as you're trying to drive them? Okay. So remember what I showed you. Good. How'd your tension? Yeah. They were each other. That's good. Who used a little bit of the voice push when they were doing some work there? Right? I heard you. That helps a lot, doesn't it? Yeah.
I feel like I'm good.
Exactly.
And it's startling.
It is startling. It's actually an old martial art that used to use voice for that in it. So
He pushed with his eyes.
yeah, and that's super easy, isn't it? Right? You know, there's and it's funny, they just talk about that. Remember, tension don't always have to be movements. Some, well, big movements can be small movements. Here I am. I'm changing heights. I'm changing targets. When you change heights, that's much more difficult than just changing targets. So if I'm here, and I just change targets,
Try to go keep the programs.
not as high. You want to go down, don't you?
It gets their back and say,
I've heard it on coaches corner how Knights and Dukes they don't respond to bigger movements. The smaller movements that they respond.
100%, and that's because we're picking up much earlier in the curve. Where a newer fighter picks up much later. So like if you're fighting a brand new fighter, sometimes you have to make that beginning, right? if I'm fighting wrong guard, it's like, right, there's this tension. Look, I'm just using tension into my body to make my opponent think of something. Here I am, I just tense, and you see he shifted a little. Okay? Right? So I'm just tiny, it's like,
Yes.
and it's gonna make that other person respond with some tension. But my tension is immediate and release. The game of margins, isn't it? You notice though, when you don't let that person go, it becomes very hard for them to relax and find that time to relax. Now, the drill I just showed you, there's one more part of it. It doesn't really feel into the tension, but it's important. Since you're doing this drill, the last one, if you want to do this at home, the reason why I do a person with intent and a person without intent is because you have to learn both sides of it. Because if you never actually learn what it is to have the intent in a fight, you're like, you got to be more aggressive. What they're saying is, you need to have, it has nothing to do with aggressiveness. You have to have more intent on your part. But if you never learn how to do that, then you're like, what does intent mean? I have intent, I'm blocking. No, that's not intent. Intent is that I intend to throw a blow at you. I intend to put you into a position. The last part of this exercise, okay, this is probably a little outside of the tension we're talking about, is essentially 10 more seconds of, if I'm here, watch it, we can actually feel this. So here I am. Right, now he's trying to pull that intent back. So now watch, he's still, at this point, he's still not really pushing on me yet. Now, look, he changed intent. Now it changes in that fight. Now my job is pull him. Now it gets to, sometimes it gets to that point where I'm pulling him. Oh look, I don't have intent. I really have intent. I intend to pull you. Right? But that means it brings me into a place where I'm controlling. That's what that intent means. So that's what that intent means. So watch, we're going to do it one more time. Here I am. You died. Wait. Too much intent, right? I took intent back just by pulling. Right? A little bit of the Muhammad Ali, right? So the idea is you have to find who has that intent, because you may be falling into a trap. So if we practice this, we know it much better. Now, stretch those rounds to 30 seconds. Now stretch those rounds to a minute. So end of COVID, we were doing what we were doing, like 2-3 rounds?
Like a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Yeah. And then I'd fight Louis, and I'd fight Cy, and I'd fight Louis, and then we were like switching off who had multiple rounds. Right? Think about what you can do with that if you're comfortable in that place. How many people here think anyone in the SCA is comfortable in a 3-minute round? That's constantly pushing intent. Yeah. Nobody would like it. In fact, most of us don't get past the 30-second shot clock. Right? We have to throw a shot. We haven't really figured out anything yet, but we want to throw a shot because I have a sword in my hand. Think of the idea of tension and burning somebody down. And like I told you guys, when we first start, you really believe that you can beat me. But if I block a bunch of stuff and you start breathing hard, what starts passing your mind? Like, maybe I can't. Yeah, oh no! And then when you're like, I'm ready to rest, I am burnt out, and you're walking backwards, and I'm like, and you're like, can't find a breath still, right? Now you almost go into panic mode. And you'll see what happens, usually what happens when people go into panic mode, they're like, I got one final big thing to do. And they're gonna jump on you, and they're gonna throw stuff, and sometimes you just let them do it because it's so big, it's so easy to see, and that is about it. There are more fights than not that I'll have people say, I'm done, and just quit. In fact, I had probably, God, how many months I couldn't throw a blow, and I'd go out in the backyard and just burn people for 15, 20 minutes, right? So, you know, and the idea is I got used to that, and that burn, all those movements, that's just my jog. Right? I'm jogging. Sometimes when I push into their corner, I'm putting a ton of, so I push into your sword angle, I'm putting a ton of energy onto that offensive piece. This is uncomfortable, isn't it? Right? But if I'm over here, if I'm on this shield, now you have big rotation. I can see that. I'm just resting. I got 2 shields blocking. That's when I breathe. So find those places where you can breathe in a fight. Breathe and bring your tension back down, just like if you're running. But you see in these fights, they were 10 seconds long. A lot to learn in those 10 seconds, right? Is there any reason you can't do this at home? There are great boxing apps online that'll do the rounds for you. You can program them 10 seconds, 25 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever you want. Use those things because, you know, in the end, just like we did, we fought for control or an intent, and then she got that outside step. Very nice outside step because you put me in a poor place that I had to respond to. So I gave you the intent. Now I have to fight for it back. There's the fight. Fight ain't about always swinging a blow. You did a great job at a perfect time to take intent. And then I got square, and I'm like, she's just gonna keep driving forward, and look at her work that energy up. You keep going. Yeah, kill me. Right? You know, and I'm just relaxing because now really I have the intent because I'm intending to burn you. So it's just a different way to think about how you fight. You know, how many people here really even thought about tension in a fight as far as burning people through those spaces, right? Yeah, we put tension on people, but controlling your own, controlling theirs.
The margin's something I've worked with before.
Yep.
I'm looking for somebody to burn faster than I am.
Exactly.
Technique.
So this gives you an idea. I mean, our big piece out here is to give you an idea how to train it. That is the biggest part. I will tell you right now, the idea of telling somebody they have the intent first goes a long way because a lot of new people have no clue what that means. And when we give it to them, because I'm going to tell you, it's very hard to do that if we're just fighting. I'm going to take intent every opportunity I get because that's what we do. But when you give it to somebody and they're working you and they see success and how they're working you, you're like, oh, that's what intent is.
If I could just,
Yeah.
I think in terms of pressure.
Yeah,
but
it's pressure.
felt in terms of tension. I can see from what you're talking about, they are slightly different.
Yeah, they are slightly different, right? Intent just means I am the one that's in control. Now I can execute stuff, you know, and then like you did, you executed that outside movement really good, and then you started driving, right? So and then it wasn't so much about me anymore. It was about you again, right?
I mean, I love A-Rain.
So it's all about control of ourselves, isn't it? All right, so you have control work you have to do. Like at some point when you start driving me and I look comfortable, so come on, we're gonna be, yeah! Now, yeah, break out here. Yeah, there you go. See, now you notice you can start breathing again, can't you? Because now I'm like, oh, I actually still have intent. You're never really turning it over to me.
Okay.
Because you're in control of yourself. As soon as we give control of ourselves away, we're in a bad place.
So that juncture where she has intent, but you have that moment where you find your game.
Yep.
You're able to lure her
Yes.
into thinking she has control. And just hold her there for a while.
100%.
She tires out.
She tires.
And then she throws the big shots. And
then she wants to, then it's time for her to get her rest, right?
Right.
And then
That's the
I
time
just
to go in.
take that point. I don't have to throw, by the way. In fact, don't. Because then you want to rest. You just stay in a corner while they're dying. They're like, no, you're supposed to let me go. You're supposed to let me go take a breath. Okay? It's like, what's going to happen is you guys are going to find people like, okay, hold for a second, I have to breathe. And it's like, okay. But I'll drive people until, you know, even in practice, like out here, it's like, bang! And I'm like, good! You know? And we just keep going.
That's not the normal rhythm, though.
Yeah. So if I throw a blow, it's not the normal rhythm. But if I'm in a fight and I throw a blow, bang, and it's not good, if I'm used to stopping,
Right.
then I'm not doing any good. That person steps out. But if I'm like, Bang, they block, and I'm already in a corner. I'm still holding it.
Right.
Does that make sense? Got anything on it? Anything I miss?
Because I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, no,
Quite
it's
frankly,
fine.
everybody's doing a good job, so it's getting tired of watching.
Yep.
But so when you're giving this energy, this is external energy. This is not internal energy. So because it's new to you, the instinct is going to be to give lots of energy internally. Get excited and bounce around this guy, right? Except now I'm burning. What you want is you want external, so I can relax on the inside
And do good footwork.
and give.
See, I just sit there. He pushed me, and then he backed up for a second, and then he rolled back in. I think I'm resting, and then he rolled back in.
I saw him start to rise, so I stepped in on this. He started to rise, so I actually did a switch foot and cut this corner off because this was the bigger. To me, this is the bigger part of the list. So I felt him rise, so I stepped on this side to cut him off to put that tension back on. But I can still relax. I'm too high right now. But
Okay.
so you
And then
are
he
relaxed.
also did a timing change. He pushed me for a sec. I went away. And then he, look at how he changes that path. He's walking right into my corner.
And that was my rest. I got
That was the rest right there. And actually, his walking at me, he's resting.